I'm Deanna Dewberry.
I'm Brett Davidson. The daycare is called Stepping Stones Learning Center. It serves 500 families and many children with special needs. Last Friday, we told you the founder and CEO was suspended. Tonight, we can tell you she's been fired. We learned that after Chief Investigative Reporter Berkeley Breen exclusively obtained a letter to staff from the daycare's board of directors. Berkeley?
Hey, Brett, here's the letter right here, and I just talked to the founder's lawyer. He confirmed she's fired. Mary Ellen Cupini opened Stepping Stones in 1994 with just 9 students. Now its website says it serves 500 families. After our report last Friday, the board of directors of Stepping Stones sent this letter to staff. It says, "We have made the difficult decision to end our relationship with Stepping Stones President CEO Mary Ellen Cupini. Cupini's lawyer gave me this statement. It says she's deeply saddened about getting fired, regrets the board's decision, but stands by her position that she has engaged in no wrongdoing."
Would you ever let him go back there?
No.
For 2 years, Amber Rose Nyap had her son at Stepping Stones. She says he was jumping from a slide while staff stood around. The 4th time he did it, Matthew fell and broke his arm. Amber Rose sued Stepping Stones and settled out of court in March.
Educationally, I mean, they were on top of their education. Watching them, it was awful.
Oh, they were wonderful.
Betty Drew says her grandchildren went to Stepping Stones. Now she volunteers there.
Well, they're taxpayer funded and nonprofit, and it's my way of giving back.
We talked about the list of violations levied by the state, including one on May 9th. The state listed the rule that says daycares must immediately notify the parent and state office upon learning of the death, serious incident, or transportation to a hospital when the child was at the daycare. The ruling by the state, not corrected.
What is the morale like inside the learning center right now?
Well, they were a little concerned. Who wouldn't be?
In the letter to staff, it says that Stepping Stones has partnered with CDS Life Transitions to, quote, for quality assurance, financial integrity, and leadership. And I just got this statement from the chair of the board of directors of Stepping Stones, and he says in the statement that Stepping Stones is correcting the violations that the state has levied against it. We're live in Irondequoit, Berkeley Breen, News 10, NBC.
Burke, thank you. We have some breaking news now. A missing 12-year-old girl is safe tonight. State police say she was found unharmed this afternoon in Farmersville, New York. It wasn't far from where she was allegedly kidnapped in Linden, Cattaraugus County early this morning. Troopers issued an Amber Alert for Mackenzie Wilson, warning that she could be in danger. They say she was found with 2 teenage boys, 18 and 16-year-olds. The incident is under investigation and no charges have been filed.
Now to the terror in Manchester. Police and a grieving community continue to search for answers tonight. 22 people were killed, some of them children, when police say a suicide bomb went off outside the arena after an Ariana Grande concert. More than 50 others are wounded.
I thought that was it. I thought we were going to die. And it was just, everyone was running for the doors. And obviously, my little girl was absolutely hysterical.
The suspect was identified as 22-year-old Salman Abidi, a British citizen of Libyan descent. Investigators say he was known to British authorities. ISIS claimed responsibility for the attack, but police are still determining if he was acting alone or working as part of a wider network. Lester Holt will anchor NBC Nightly News live from Manchester, England, coming up at 6:30. SMG, the company that manages the Manchester Arena, also manages the Blue Cross Arena right here in Rochester. That's where we find Amanda Shivari live tonight. Amanda?
Brett, throughout the day today, I reached out several times to the general manager of the Blue Cross Arena to find out what that management group is saying to them today after last night's attacks. But all of my requests for information and interviews went unanswered. Today, I did speak with a former FBI agent who told me a little bit about what can be done to prevent attacks like this from happening in our community.
In a perfect world, you'd like to have a place where this can be prevented 100%, but that's not the fact.
Many people are on high alert after police say a terrorist set off a bomb inside an arena in Manchester, England. People we spoke with today say they are concerned about security at public events.
Any big live event, like I was even nervous at our Lilac Festival, just being there in that crowd of people, just because everything that's going on now, it's It's crazy.
The larger the event or in an outdoor space, the more challenges that you have. But again, you know, we see some of these low sophisticated attacks. When we talk about that, what I mean is low technology, the use of a vehicle or a knife. Very, very hard to thwart. Again, it's all about controlling access to the event.
As we head into the summer concert season, we wanted to check out our local venues and ask them about security. Chris Tuttle works at CMAC and says security is a top priority and that they are constantly trying to foresee and prevent attacks.
The tipping point last year for us was the Orlando incident. And just immediately following that, we went to metal wand detectors, and we do bag checks.
And one thing that security experts kept telling us throughout the day over and over is that if you're going to one of these large live events, if you see something, make sure you say something. Throughout the day today, we also heard from the Rochester Police Chief in response to what happened in Manchester. You can see his full statement attached to this story at WHEC.com. Live in Rochester, Amanda Shivari, News 10 NBC.
Amanda, thank you. New at 6, as people along Lake Ontario continue to deal with flooding issues, officials have reminders ahead of Memorial Day weekend. The Wayne County Sheriff says a state of emergency remains in effect for the entire Lake Ontario shoreline. There's a significant amount of floating and submerged debris in the water, so boaters should use extreme caution. And all boats must operate at idle in any of the bays and within 500 feet of the lake shore.
Pleasant night out there ahead. Our hometown weather expert, Kevin Williams, joins us.
And so as we look ahead, we're expecting some rain, perhaps lots of rain?
Yeah, it could be, but it is going to be at least a nice evening. Just heard from our weather watcher in Sotos, Kitty Kelly, reports a nice evening in the village, at least, on the lake shore. Also pleasant weather, but obviously still dealing with those lake levels. But things are quiet now, and I think they'll stay quiet through tomorrow. Then, yes, the rain is on the way. Not now, though. Live Doppler 10, it's a rain-free scan. These are just the false returns, partly from the wind farms in Wyoming County. Again, the view from space, the high-res visible imagery, showing a couple of scattered patches of cloudiness, so it's not clear, but a nice evening, and temperatures pretty easy to take, ranging mainly in the low 70s as we speak. Avon, good afternoon to you. A lucky 77 degrees. Downtown, we're looking at 72 at 7 o'clock, partly sunny skies, and the evening will be partly cloudy with temperatures generally dropping into the 60s this evening and then back into the 50s overnight. Yes, we've got rain ahead. We'll talk about the timing and the amounts in just a few moments. Back to you guys.
Kevin, thank you. New at 6, motion denied. A Greece woman whose shaken baby murder conviction was overturned will be retried for the child's death. Today, a state Supreme Court judge dismissed a motion by Renee Bailey's attorney to dismiss the charges. In 2001, prosecutors say Bailey shook 2.5-year-old Brittany Sheets at her home daycare in Greece. The toddler later died. Her murder conviction was overturned in 2014 because new research redefined what can cause shaken baby syndrome.
Also new at 6, a 25-year-old man is now facing murder charges for a homicide in Rochester last month. Devin Mason was indicted by a grand jury on second-degree murder and criminal possession of a weapon. Investigators say he killed 33-year-old Christopher Smith in April. Smith's body was found on Newell Valley off Scioto Street by the Inner Loop. Police have not said exactly how he died. Mason will be arraigned tomorrow morning. We have a health alert now. The state health department confirms a tourist from India had the measles and visited several locations in western New York, including the Hampton Inn in Brockport. The department says anyone who visited the inn between 12 a.m. and 12 p.m. on May 12th may have been exposed. Measles symptoms include fever, rash, a cough, pink eye, or runny nose. Symptoms usually appear 10 to 12 days after exposure, although they may occur as late as June 2nd. Anyone concerned should contact their health care provider.
The Christmas Eve fire destroyed the town's snowplow fleet. Now, 5 months later, we're asking what caused the DPW building in Irondequoit to go up in flames.
We have the final report from investigators, plus the data breach impacted millions of people, including New Yorkers. How much the state will get back from a settlement with Target. That's next.
What was the cause? That's what a lot of you want to know. Months after a major fire destroyed the Department of Public Works building in Irondequoit. It's the subject of this week's Good Question Report with Pat Taney. Had a lot of questions on this still.
You know, I keep getting emails about this. It's been 5 months, Christmas Eve to be exact, when flames ripped through the DPW building. And for the first time, We're finding out the final report from investigators.
The fire intense. More than 100 firefighters called in, millions of dollars in equipment wiped out. We know where it started.
Fire started in the engine compartment of a large truck that was in the South Bay.
But what ignited that engine compartment? I reached out to the Monroe County Fire Bureau, which closed its investigation. The final determination? Undetermined.
They're saying the final report is undetermined.
Really no conclusive decision as to what sparked the truck.
The Monroe County Fire Bureau also told me that undetermined doesn't necessarily mean accidental. Any worry or concern in your mind that something happened here that shouldn't have?
No, and I was very upfront with both our chief of police and the district attorney's office that if there was foul play or a human element here, we wanted to know. They've determined that there really was no human cause or something that was intentional.
The town's insurance company, though, is still investigating as the town gets ready to build a new facility on this piece of state-owned land near 590 in the 104 Ridge Road corridor.
Hope by spring next year we'll be breaking ground and hopefully opening up in 2019.
Are you confident you're going to get reimbursed fully by the insurance company?
It's not going to be the cost of a new modern highway garage, but we'll find ways to pay for it through other means.
Do you think, you don't think it'll impact taxes then at all?
My hope is no.
Another thing undetermined, the total amount of money lost in this fire. Again, insurance adjusters still working to determine that. The town is looking at buying mostly used trucks to replenish the fleet it lost to get them at a lower cost. Back to you.
Thank you, Pat. If you have a good question, we'd like to hear from you. Send an email to goodquestion@whec.com.
New at 6, the New York attorney agreed to a settlement with Target over the company's massive data breach back in 2013. Target agreed to pay $18.5 million to 47 states and maintain encryption policies and take other security steps. Target's breach occurred, you'll remember, during the holiday shopping season, impacting more than 41 million customer payment card accounts. The AG's office says 1.9 million of those accounts were New Yorkers. New York will get $635,000 out of that settlement.
Well, I know you don't want to hear this, but unfortunately there's more rain ahead this week.
Here's the question, though. Will it clear up before the Memorial Day weekend? Kevin will tell us.
Your forecast with meteorologist Kevin Williams, your hometown weather expert.
Well, good afternoon. Not a bad day upon us today, and it looks like a pretty decent day is coming up tomorrow, but we do have rain to tell you about, and we'll try and time that out for you moving forward. So short term, I think we'll eke out a decent day tomorrow. The rain is back Thursday, and the holiday weekend starts A-OK right now, but there are some more showers that are likely coming our way. Speaking of rain, from Larry Teddemore, this nice shot from Paper Mill Falls at Letchworth, showing again the area, even though we haven't had a lot of rain very recently, the area creeks and streams and waterfalls are still very well charged, and there's more water to come, unfortunately, both for the inland lakes and, of course, Lake Ontario as well. It'll be coming from the south, and that's always a concern because you have all the moisture available from the Gulf of Mexico and from the Atlantic Ocean east of Florida, and that's going to be the issue as a very active jet stream pattern, unusual for this time of year, taking a big dip, and it's going to kind of scoop this moisture up and push it to the north. I brought along the higher resolution futurecast to kind of show you what's going on. You see all this moisture coming in. This is Wednesday afternoon. We're still good, but notice all these blobs of red and yellow through the middle Atlantic and the southeast. Notice how they kind of converge toward Pennsylvania, New York, Thursday morning. That's some pretty hefty rain as it continues to go through. It's all coming through Rochester, Western New York, and the Finger Lakes, and therein lies the problem. We could be right in the target area for some of the heavier rains out of the system, and if that's not enough, there will be some more showers, but I don't think steady rain later in the holiday weekend. So let's take a trip over to the weather wall. We'll put some numbers to this, at least the Futurecast model will, and look at the the blossoming, if you will, of the rainfall numbers as we go into Wednesday night, Thursday. The suggestion here is a ½ inch to an inch of rain. But remember, there'll be some more showers later in the weekend, so it's really a story. We just can't fully get out of the pattern we're in. We have a day or two of nice weather, but we revert back to this cooler and wetter than normal pattern, and I think that's how we're going to go right through the rest of the month. So bottom line is, when the sun shines, take advantage and soak it up and soak it in. Looking pretty good right now in Brockport. Bob Iverson checking in for us. 79 degrees, 72 officially in Rochester. The breeze has started to kick in a little bit off the lake and has cooled the lakeshore. 52 tonight, a partly cloudy sky. The breeze will settle down shortly after sunset. Tomorrow's not a bad day. We'll have some limited sunshine, just a small chance of a shower in the afternoon, 75 degrees. But it really looks kind of nasty on Thursday. Rain. Some of the rain could be hefty with breezes. Cool, too. 60s. Leftover showers Friday. And for your Memorial Day weekend, I'm anticipating Saturday be the best day of the weekend with a partly to mostly sunny sky and 70. Again, Saturday and Sunday, to my way of thinking, not washouts, but there will be a few showers, some breaks of sunshine, and high temperatures in the lower to mid-70s. There's still some time on the holiday weekend for that weather pattern to improve. In other words, for things to get better. But the event on Thursday looks pretty much like a done deal. Some much unneeded rainfall coming our way Wednesday night and Thursday.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
You bet.
Well, coming up, the NFL is infamous for handing out fines after touchdown celebrations.
But that's about to change this football season. Breland Moore fills us in next in sports.
Now, News 10 NBC Sports with Breland Moore.
Well, after a slew of fines throughout the years, the NFL earned the reputation of being the No Fun League. It was announced this afternoon, though, that fun might be making a comeback next season. Commissioner Roger Goodell says that he wants players to have more room to have fun after they make big plays. Players will now be allowed to use the football as a prop after a touchdown, celebrate on the ground, and be part of group demonstrations. The relaxed rules will not allow celebrations that are prolonged and delay the game, are offensive and crude, or are directed at opponents. Now, the NFL decided to ease up on the penalty flags after talking to more than 80 current and former players. I love that one. That's my favorite. So expect to see more twerking, dabbing, and snow angel making, and maybe Salvation Army diving in 2017. If you're looking for some local sports action tonight, the Rattlers are off and the Rhinos play tomorrow, but the Red Wings are in action. After two tough series against the Lehigh Valley and Scranton, the Wings are back at Frontier Field taking on the Durham Bulls. Now tonight is the start of a 7-game homestand and is the first meeting with the Bulls so far this season. Game time is set for 7:05. And I don't know about you guys, but if you had to do a touchdown celebration, I don't think any of us are going to be playing.
No.
But what would be your go-to dance?
Oh,
I kind of like the popcorn one that Terrell Owens
like
did
the
years ago.
popcorn?
Right? Just play the popcorn.
That's
I like that one.
fantastic.
I like the kettle dive as well, but
Yeah,
maybe a
that's
little,
working.
Antonio Brown.
There you go. All right. Thanks
All
a
right.
lot.
Coming up, we'll show you cakes made by a local woman that are so lifelike they might make you cringe.
Plus, how close are the Genesee beer tanks to Rochester? The latest on their journey along the Erie Canal next.
We have an update on the Genesee beer tanks and their journey to Rochester on the Erie Canal. Barges carrying 6 fermentation tanks left from near Schenectady this morning. They're close to arriving in Tribes Hill, that's outside Amsterdam, where they will park for the night. The remaining 6 tanks are stopped outside Schenectady. They should arrive in Rochester next week.
Well, a Nunde woman is getting national recognition for her unique cake creations.
Insider Dessert, a website that publishes all things sweet, shared this video of Catherine Day's work. Day is a local nurse, but she is also a cake artist who makes eerily realistic-looking cakes. Day adds fillings like custard and strawberry to add the realness and uses modeling chocolate to make precise shapes. And she paints the cakes until they're lifelike.
Okay, the one that looked like the woman?
Yeah, that was nuts.
You can't cut into Grandma's brain. Thanks for making News 10 NBC your choice for news.
Good night.